ground. Just pull down the street.
No, they're going to
computer.
stay on the seats in their seats and they're going to listen to the big screen. We're going to do this with your dog. My dog stories. Yeah. We're doing this in 1 week.
Let's.
No, not less than 1 week. We're doing this in 5 days.
No.
Okay. It's just fun.
A visiting secret all up there.
It's just her. Karen would be so much fun.
Funny.
Let's see. Should be coming in here soon. Let's hope. I gotta get Roland's.
What's a video thread? Do you know what a video
What is
thread
it?
is and where that would be? Voice thread, sorry.
Not a voice thread. Hey, how are you, Kevin?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
You too.
Can you see all of us?
I see the ceiling.
There we go.
That's better.
So let's see if you can see everybody.
I see a few.
Yeah, we got there's 5 of us in there, so I'll see if I.
Oh, great.
Oh yeah, we have a small group today.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Now.
There you are.
And I think Roland's coming in here soon. He said he was going to stop by.
Okay. Good.
So basically, we're in Barrington, Illinois, at Station Middle School, and we have a variety of content areas here. A science.
So where in Illinois is that?
Northwest suburbs of Chicago, about 35 miles northwest.
Okay. I grew up in St. Louis, so I know Illinois pretty well.
So did I.
We actually have a Cardinals fan in here, so
There you
watch
go.
out.
All right.
So basically, we've been talking about the SAMR model and how we can use Google Apps to engage students, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on how you guys do that within your district, and if you also want to introduce yourself and
Sure.
where you're from and your position.
Sure. So I'm a teacher on special assignment in San Diego, which is North County, San Diego. Our district is a 712 district. We are in Del Mar, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, so coastal North County, San Diego. I was a science teacher, a high school science teacher for many years, and for the last 3 years, I've been the teacher on special assignment. So I teach teachers, which in a lot of ways is a little bit more frustrating than teaching kids. But my biggest thing that I've found in terms of getting teachers to think about getting up the SAMR model is to get them on the ladder at the bottom. When I've shown SAMR in workshops, sometimes teachers feel like they need to start at the top. They need to be in redefinition all the time, every time, and that's one of the things that I try to get them away from, is that just even substitution is good. Substitution, that's not a bad thing just because it's the bottom of the ladder. One of the things that I've found is that when teachers are doing anything with Google Apps, that it tends to lead to more. So if we can just get teachers to try 1 or 2 things, low pressure, low stakes, it doesn't require, you're not going to put your entire course into Google Apps tomorrow. Low pressure and low stakes, and then they start coming up with ideas themselves, and the teachers are thinking, wow, okay, well, I've done this, now I could add this little piece to it, and I can add that, and oh, here, I can make this a little bit more more rigorous by doing something like this. and once the teachers start doing that, that's that really helps a lot. Is what I've found. Another thing that's really helped us is Google Classroom, and I assume that you guys have talked about Classroom today, or you're familiar with Google Classroom.
We talked a little bit about it, but
Okay.
I don't know. Have you guys used it much? Kevin, have you?
They're good. They're going to school while it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
Schoology.
School.
We're a one-to-one district, and so one of our devices is the iPad, so we've seen more success piloting Schoology, but I do know there's some teachers at the high school and in the elementary schools and even middle school who've tried it.
Yeah. The high school is pretty big. That's where I'm located. The high school classrooms is big. You guys at the middle school, which we're at here today, you guys have iPads.
Yeah.
A pilot iPad.
Yeah.
Right.
So Schoology's been huge for the iPad. Schoology and Notability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, last year before Google Classroom came out, we had teachers trying to use Google Drive and Google Docs with students, and it was a pain. It was a lot of work for them to do that. And this year, it's kind of taken off with us because we've got that Google Classroom layer sitting on top of Drive and making things easier. Now, I know I know what Schoology is, but I don't have a lot of experience with it. But I would think that something like that, some kind of learning management system that's going to allow for teachers to do their job with less time and less headache, again, that's kind of the entry point there. And then once you start doing that, you start thinking, okay, well, now I'm doing things better. Now I can take it up one more notch, and then one more notch. And instead of trying to push teachers to do everything all at once, right away, now, tomorrow, step by step, slow is a really, that's a really good thing to do. And then obviously different teachers go at their own speed. Some of them are raring to go. Once I show them kind of the tools, they're using it with their kids immediately. Others go more slowly and really like having. There are some teachers who are really comfortable giving kids assignments with things that the teacher's maybe not that comfortable with, so I don't really know how this is going to work, but let's find out, kids. There's other teachers who really, really have to know all the details before the kids start to do it, and either way is fine, whatever's most comfortable for them. All
Very
right.
cool. So one thing we were talking about was kind of we were really interested in the modification and redefinition levels of SAMR and kind of some examples. Have you guys, actually, I think I just see Roland popping in here now. Hey, Roland, how are you? He's not there yet. So have you had any recent examples? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but have you seen any recent examples of modification or redefinition, particularly using Google apps, or what would you classify?
We've got some science teachers that are really doing some really cool things, and I'm struggling to pull it up in my head right off the top of my head, but we have a small number of teachers who are really kind of operating at that modification and redefinition levels. While I will pull up a file, I've got some notes. As soon as I have that, I'll let you know. But I'm struggling to pull it up off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, no worries. So, actually, Jared just popped in here. So, Jared, how are you?
Hi, Jared.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
guys too. It's been a long time, huh?
It sure has.
So, Jared, you would mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Jared Bartitian. I am a teacher on special assignment. I work for a group in Las Vegas, Nevada, called the Southern Nevada Regional Professional Development Program. And I hit and missed on some of the things, but like Kevin, I work strictly in PD with teachers for basically 3/4 of the state of Nevada, five counties, essentially. So.
Oh, very cool. So we've been talking a bit about Google Apps and engaging students, and in particular, we're focusing a little bit on the SAMR model. So, do you have any recent examples of, or in your district, of how you guys have been using Google Apps to really engage students and hook them into the content?
Absolutely. So I think the funniest story is I predominantly work with Clark County School District in Vegas, which is the 5th largest in the nation, and they have been anti-Google Apps for a number of years now, and have just recently decided to move in that direction. So I'm actually at a school today talking with teachers about how to implement Google Apps into their classrooms starting next month when they start to roll this stuff out a little bit. So what we've done with this small group of teachers here at this particular high school is we've just started to introduce teachers first at the bare bones level, which I think I heard Kevin kind of touch on when I was listening earlier. Introduce them at the bare bones level, and then have brought students on slowly without accounts, doing some anonymous work in like Google Slides and things like that to teach them about collaboration and how to work together a little bit. So just kind of some basic stuff to introduce Google Apps to the teachers.
Very cool, very cool. Do you guys have any questions? I see, Kevin, you did post a nice link in the document, which we could take a look at.
Yeah, that's a poster that I put together for our district that I worked with several teachers on to come up with examples from different subject areas of taking an assignment and kind of moving up the SAMR model with it. So for S and A and M and R, and so this is one that's kind of posted in many of our classrooms in our district, just because teachers are trying to look at that and be reminded what the different levels are and kind of be conscious of what they're doing throughout their instruction. So some of these are real specific, and some of them are very general, but I don't know, it might be helpful.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I'll post those in the in our shared notes that we have going, and we can take a look. We appreciate it.
I'm going to just double check right now and make sure that that's open to everybody, but I'm pretty sure it is.
I just clicked on the link and we're good to go.
Great, great.
Okay. I see Roland just hopped in too.
Sorry guys, can you hear me?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
we can.
Awesome. Sorry about that. I'm losing my connection here, but it's nice to see everybody.
It's good to see you too, Roland.
Likewise.
So, Roland, we're here in, and actually, Jared, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, we're here in Barrington, Illinois. It's the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Talking a little bit about using Google Apps to engage students. Would you mind introducing yourself and maybe give an example of how you guys have done it in your district?
Sure. My name is Roland Chidiak, and I'm the sole Canadian, I guess. I'm from Waterloo, Ontario, which is about 1 hour away from Toronto. And my board is just started with math. This year, they've really pushed it out. So I was kind of a pioneer last year, and I'm a grade 2 teacher, so I work with 7 and 8-year-olds, and we use GAF all the time. And usually it starts off very simple. I let them experiment with the different apps. They try them out, they play with them, and then slowly I kind of let them show me where they're at and what they're ready for. So we've done all kinds of stuff. Recently, the kids were working on a social studies report in Google Docs. And the part that was really dynamic was that they were sharing their work with their parents, who could jump in any time, any day, and leave comments for them and actually see their work in real time. So we've got the simple task of learning how to write a report, but then it's elevated up the SAMR model basically by having parents see it and interact with it, while I'm providing academic feedback. The parents are providing, that way to go, Johnny, or tell me more about this, or I didn't know that you thought that. And all this is happening during the school day while I'm kind of teaching them, and other people are providing feedback.
Very cool, very cool. So did you guys have any questions for any of these guys?
How did you guys come into contact with each other?
So this summer we all went to the Google Teacher Academy in Mountain View, California, and there were 65 of us. We all met there and formed a connection. We're all still engaged on social media still, but we don't get to see each other in person too often. So it's nice to see these guys in person.
I noticed it on
Oh, our hairstyles, yes. We all are light on the hair on top. We definitely are. But it was great to meet these guys in at the Google Teacher Academy. We learned a bunch. We made some good connections down there.
Are there specific apps outside of like the basic Drive, like Docs and Slides, that you particularly like or seem particularly effective beyond just Docs, Slides?
I like using maps.
Yeah, maps. I was going to say.
Yeah.
We've got several teachers. We've got several teachers using Blogger. Yeah.
We actually have in our on the Padlet wall that we're going to take a look at here in a second. I put some links to. We went over a hyperdoc, which that activity that we did with the SAMR model was actually an example of a hyperdoc, which we'll talk more about here in a little bit. But there's also things like hyper maps and hyper slides and stuff like that, which is kind of rethinking direct instruction and also kind of the traditional worksheet to make it more engaging and include multimedia in it, a collaborative nature with like a Padlet wall or other Web 2.0 stuff like that.
Yeah, Jeff would use a lot of these.
So we do have a math teacher in here, a middle school math teacher. So do you guys have any ideas on using Google Apps within a math class, which that can always be tough?
Well, I mean, go ahead, Kevin. In grade 2, we just finished working on data management, and I taught my kids how to use forms to create a survey, and then how to use a spreadsheet to kind of analyze their raw data and put it into a graph. So it starts there with like a very basic. It is basic to me, I guess, but to them, they thought it was fantastic, and I kind of gave them a taste for learning how to use formulas, because one of the questions was, you know, once we're done the survey, we created a class survey, then we shared the form on Twitter, and my students were like, well, what happens to the bar graph that we create if more people decide that they find your link and they want to answer our survey? Like, what happens to those people? How does that work? And so it got me teaching a group of them how to use a formula so that we could leave our graph kind of live and ready to always kind of accept more and more responses. So in mathematics, recently, just this past week, I was talking about how to create a survey and then how to create a graph and how to analyze that data. So that's something that I just did in mathematics. Mind you, it's at the grade 2 level, but I'm sure if I can do it in grade 2, then people up the ladder can twist that any which way they want in order to allow the students to really like innovate and think outside the box.
I was using Google Sheets with my 6th graders when we were doing the probability game. I taught them some formulas for random number generation, and we actually simulated 2,000 dice rolls without the need to actually roll 2,000 dice, and they thought that was pretty cool. Now you could have it do all these tasks for you, automation, if you will, and then computation of it as well. But yeah, I guess much like Kevin. So what else can I do? I mean, I guess it's because now, I mean, 3/5 of my course load is honors algebra, and so much of it is teaching techniques and concepts and having them, trying to get them to learn skills. It seems, I don't know, I guess I'm struggling with finding good applications that I can integrate that don't slow down the class, because there's a lot of material to cover in Algebra 1.
Are you familiar with Desmos and GeoGebra?
GeoGebra, I am familiar with that. Desmos, I just heard about this year. I've not downloaded it.
Yeah.
The high school talking about it as a potential replacement for making by graphic calculators.
Yeah.
So that may yet.
Yeah, they're great. They're not part of Google really, but I mean they're fantastic. But I love the idea of using spreadsheets, and honors algebra may not need this, but I know that when kids are first learning algebra, spreadsheets are a great visual way to kind of get them the idea of a function and then a variable that gets plugged into that function, and then they can change that variable and see what it does to the calculation. And so yeah, I love spreadsheets, so I think that's a great tool right there. There's also an add-on, and I don't know if you guys have talked about add-ons at all, called GMath, which lets you put mathematical functions. It's like a math type or something like that into Google Docs and to forms as well. So if you're familiar with add-ons at all, it's pretty simple, and it's just called GMath.
Yeah, you know, with math, I've done some work over the last few years using Google Maps. Dr. Alice Christie down in Arizona, and she uses Google Maps to create lessons, student-driven lessons on a map, and embedded in those particular, I call them push pins there, they have particular math problems or concepts that students would be working on. An example might be a picture of the pyramids in Egypt, and it has some dimensions, and you need to find the volume and surface area of this particular pyramid. There's also some student-created treks on there, and I'll post that link in the forum also, because there's some self-paced some lessons there for kids that you might be interested in using, or even having kids create those geared around the lessons or concepts you're teaching.
Very cool. Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
No, well, we are doing a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think sometimes when we're
Oh, of course, of course. Well, thanks, fellas. We really appreciate it. Appreciate taking your time and talking with us for a little bit. And hope the end of the school year goes well. It's cold still here, but hopefully the sun's coming up soon.
70
Right on.
in Vegas. It's great.
Yeah. We wish. We wish. It was nice seeing everybody. Take it easy.
Good to see you all.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
Have a good rest of the day.
You too. You too.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna click on those links to make sure we have them, so we can check them out later.
So the only thing that